What's up? It's me again, Junkmaster 3, and this is going to be finally the top 10 of 1986. So yeah, these are my favorite horror films from this year. Not this year, but 1986, obviously. And I just want to point out that if I would have made this list in maybe 3 weeks or 2 weeks after this video, the order might have been in another way, but this is just how it's at the moment, and I can probably see that people are like, why the hell would you put that movie over that movie? Well, that's just my opinion of how much I enjoyed these films, and some of these films I really need to rewatch to fully appreciate them even more than I already do. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to say before I started this top list. So yeah, let's begin right away. First up, we have, oh my god, the remake of The Fly from 1960. Obviously from 1986. I'm a stupid asshole today. Well, anyway, The Fly. This is the remake of the 19. When did that come out? Was that 59? The original came out. I'm not too sure, but anyway, the original is a really good film. But this is one. This one I actually like a little bit more. Um, and yeah, the effects in this is just spectacular, and I think all of the actors in this film did a really good job. Yeah, it's your typical Cronenberg type of film, at least when it comes to the effects. He's really good when it comes to that. I just wish that Cronenberg went back to more horror stuff like this again. But yeah, anyway, The Fly at number 10. And at number 9 is a film which I'm a big fan of this director, by the way, and I think I probably said this before, but yeah, this one is directed by Kevin Tenney, and this is his first film that he made, and that film is called Witchboard, which I think is very underrated. I really like this film and the whole atmosphere to it. I mean, it's not your typical perfect type of film, but it's done. I mean, this film is made with so much love into it. I mean, it feels like there's so much love put into this, and some of the acting might not be the best either, but I really love the whole concept of the whole Ouija board. I've also seen the sequel, which was called The Devil's Doorway, which I think is also very good. I think Kevin Tenney directed that one as well. I haven't seen the third one yet, but I've heard that's supposed to be pretty bad, and apparently Kevin Tenney didn't have anything to do with the third one. So, but yeah, I'm still gonna watch that either way. But anyway, Witchboard, the first one, at number 9, really entertaining film. I believe there is another Region 1 release of that, which had the typical. I think there's a Ouija board on the front cover, which is really cool. Maybe a little bit cooler than my pretty boring cover art, but then again, that's. I mean, as long as you have the movie, that's fine. Then we have a film on number 8 spot, which I already can see people why the hell did you put this above The Fly and the Witchboard? But anyway, this is so much entertaining. I mean, it's entertaining, stupid fun, I would say. And yeah, I don't really know if you could even categorize this as horror. Well, obviously it has horror elements to it, so that's the reason why I still included it in this list. And the film is called Trick or Treat. And Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne, they are not in this movie almost at all. I mean, Gene Simmons maybe has a screen time of 5 minutes, and Ozzy just shows up for 10 seconds or something. Maybe not 10 seconds, but he's just very briefly in the film. But this is about this rock guy called what's his name, Sammy Kerr. He dies in a fire, and this fan of his is really sad about this, because this guy is basically picked on in school because he likes rock and roll or metal in some weird way. I'm not really sure why, but very muddled storyline, but that's the reason why I like it so much. It's just all over the place, and you never know what's gonna happen next. So and yeah, the music, the soundtrack to this is just really awesome 80s fun. So yeah, Trick or Treat, entertaining. Then we have a film which I can already see people well, is that a horror film or not? Well, I mean, it has some small horror elements to it, and according to IMDb, it is categorized under horror, action, romance. So I was why the hell not should I include this? Because I really really like this film. So yeah, this is at number 7. The Wraith. Some people say that this is like a mix between Mad Max and The Crow. Sort of, in a way. I mean, there's a whole lot of the racing sequences in this, and the car in this film looks really cool. I just think that, I mean, some of the acting I'm not really that big fan of, and but then again, this movie screams so much 80s. The soundtrack to this is amazing. If you haven't listened to it, go right ahead and check it out. That's some really awesome 80s soundtrack. And also Clint Howard shows up in this, and I always think he's very hilarious in his films, because he always seems to play these really creepy and weird ass characters, and he is so hilarious in my opinion. I think he needs more praise than he actually has already. So, well, anyway, The Wraith. This is from obviously 1986. Oh damn! Ugh. Well, I'm just gonna move on before I just embarrass myself to death. So, yeah, The Wraith at number 7. Why I look at this direction is because I have the list like on IMDb like rolled up here, so I don't say anything wrong, even though I have them in the rightful order. But yeah, at number 6 we have Tobe Hooper's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Some people really like this film, and some people seem to really hate it, because this is like sort of like a comedy version of the first one. Is that, or like a parody? I'm not really sure what to call it, but I mean, come on, this movie has like Dennis Hopper and Leatherface like dueling it out with chainsaws. I mean, just that alone just makes this film hilarious. And also, Bill, what's his name? Oh, come on. What's his name? Completely lost my mind now. Well, Bill Moseley, who plays Shop Top in this. That has to be like the most entertaining character, one of the most entertaining characters he's ever played, in my opinion. And I believe this might be one of the very first role that I think it was with this role that he became like really, really famous. And yeah, I don't really know what else to say, because I think most people probably have already seen this film. So yeah, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 at number 6. And at number 5 is, I'm still holding this as my favorite serial killer movie of all time. And probably people already know what movie I'm talking about. But yeah, Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. It's really, I mean, the casting in this, I mean, Michael Rooker as Henry is just spectacular, and I think also the casting of Otis was very well as well. Tom Towles. I think he's more creepy than Henry in a weird way. I'm not really sure why, but he just has these type of vibes in this film. And I know for sure this is really disturbing for some people, but there's some sequences in this which I find really funny, because some of the dialogue is just so like weird. I'm not gonna spoil that much, but there's like I mean, they have killed 2 people, and just right after that, I mean, Otis seems like very, very like down, and it's really like he seems very sad when they're sitting there in the car, and you can see like Michael Rooker like eating like some fries, and they're so much fun when he just sits there and they're like, you want some fries? It's like, oh, your casual day with a serial killer, because it basically feels like you're a third member of this group when you like follow these like sickos around. Now I've been talking about this movie for way too long, but yeah, Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer at number 5. Now let's see here. Then at number 4, I'm probably in the minority here, but I actually prefer this sequel over the first one, and the movie is Demons 2. I'm not too sure why I like this so much more than the first one. I believe the first one had better effects in it, but this one felt more action-filled. Does that make any sense? Or I mean, this seems more tense in a way than the first one, and I'm not really sure how to describe it. But if I remember correctly, the first one did have much better like creature effects in it, but it's basically like just like the first one. Basically, this is like through a TV, like monsters coming out from the TV, I believe, and the first one it was like at the cinema. So yeah. Anyway, Demons 2 at number 4. The reason why I speed up now is because I've been talking for almost 10. Yeah, now I've been talking for 10 minutes. So yeah. Then at number 3 we have. I'm not. This is another one which you could basically like discuss with people. Is this a horror or not? Maybe more of an action film, but sort of horror elements to it, I guess. Uh, Dead End Drive-In, great Australian action horror type of deal. Basically about this couple who gets trapped in like a drive-in, and they're like basically like a known. It feels like a small town within this drive-in because there's like walls all around it, and they're getting like trapped in there, and yeah, there's they basically want to get out of there, but of course there's other like gangs there, and well, it feels very post-apocalyptic in a weird way, but yeah. Dead End Drive-In at number 3. Yeah. And this one is directed by the same guy who did Turkey Shoot, which is probably one of my all-time favorite like Australian films. So yeah, Dead End Drive-In. What's his name? Brian Trenchard Smith. Yeah. Now let's see here. I'm almost stuck here with the films. Then at number 2 we have Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. This is probably one of my absolute favorite ones in the entire franchise, along with Part 4, Part 1, 4, and yeah, Part 1 and 4 basically. But Part 1, 4, and 6 are probably my favorite ones out of this entire franchise. Of course, I really like most of these films. The only like Friday the 13th film which I've not really liked that much in the franchise has been Jason Goes to Hell, which I think is the weakest one, if you don't count the reboot or remake or whatever the hell you want to call it, the film that came out in 2009. But yeah, Jason Lives, well, people already know about this one. And at number 1 is a film which I really need to rewatch again because I really loved this film. And this film is called Night of the Creeps, which is directed by Fred Decker, who also did RoboCop 3, and he also did Monster Squad, which came out 1 year after this. But I actually prefer this one over Monster Squad. I think most people are the other way around, that they prefer Monster Squad. But I think if I remember correctly, I think some of the kids in that film drove me nuts, or I felt some of them were annoying or something. I'm not too sure why, but still, Monster Squad is a really good film, but this one I would say is Fred Decker's best work. So yeah, Night of the Creeps. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed and didn't get bored, and I hope to see you again as soon as possible. So see you next time. Bye bye.